Right. Hey, look at it. It's space. Space.
Oh, well, light.
To open mind is difficult. The next space traveler, Kaho, feels the same way. For her, making speech is an action that requires a lot of courage, because her own value might be different from the majority. But she delivers her speech because she believes through speeches we can change not only audience but also people around them. She hopes this will last like a chain and change the world to be a better place.
Now, we are ready for departure. Please make sure that your seatbelt is securely fastened. Let us welcome today's ninth space traveler. The ninth space traveler is Miss Kaho Arima from Tsuda University. She will deliver her speech under the title of Weak Ties to Keep Us Live. Weak ties to keep us live. So, Miss Arima, please come up to the stage and launch your rocket to the frontier.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony and honorable judges. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
It was a typical day. I was on my way to school, happily waiting for the train to arrive, looking forward to my favorite class. But in the next moment, this peaceful scene turned into total chaos. Without warning, a young businessman standing next to me jumped off the platform. The brakes of the approaching train screamed, but it was noiseless. He was strong. My mind went blank, and I could not understand what had just happened until I heard someone shouting, "It's a suicide!" I have encountered delayed trains countless times due to such human-related accidents, but I used to simply think, well, it's too bad that happened. I didn't recognize that as something real. However, witnessing this incident made me realize how close suicide actually is to us. I was disappointed that mental depression was so prevalent that suicides had become a common phenomenon. I couldn't stop thinking, was there something I could have done to help him? Finally, one day, I encountered a life-changing experience that made me think there was a way to help such people. After my speech, I want you to try my method to save your future self from suffering emotion. The World Health Organization revealed that 97% of suicide victims suffer from a serious mental health problem, typically depression. Anybody can fall into it, right? So what can we do to overcome depression? Cho Yoshinari, director of the Japanese Association for Suicidal Prevention, says, being able to talk to people around you about concerns is the most effective way to escape from depression. Just talking to people around us, surely that is an easy solution. in his home, I think. I'm okay because I have my best friend and family to share my concern with. Yes, I also thought that this was a simple, effective thing until I had a conversation with an elderly businessman. He was a regular customer at the cafe where I work. He always enjoyed chatting with us over a cup of coffee. But one day, he appeared without his usual charming smile, but with a very exhausted face. I cannot get along with people in my workplace. He started to reveal his concerns about work. Afterwards, he said, I can never say these things to my family because I don't want to make them worry. As I'm the breadwinner, I cannot let them see me as weak. I feel relaxed by talking with you though, so thank you. Seeing his relieved face, I realized that it is difficult to reveal deeper concerns to people in close relationships to us because there is pressure to behave according to social expectations. In contrast, it can be much easier to share concern with someone who is more distant because we feel that our embarrassment and shame is still secret from those closest to us. It was after this that I learned about horizontal networks and vertical networks. Horizontal networks are wide and shallow. They are our weak relationships such as with neighbors, coworkers, and home members. Vertical networks are deeper and stronger but narrow, such as relationships with family and very close friends. Research by a political scientist, Robert Kirkman, said that building horizontal networks is more beneficial for mental health than vertical networks. This is because if we invest too much time in a few deeper relationships, we have no one to turn to if we cannot reveal our problems to those people. This is exactly what happened to the old businessman in the coffee shop. Yoshiki Ishikawa, an innovator at Kelsey, says that in Japan, the number of horizontal connections is especially small. A survey by Minabi shows 79% of Japanese think narrow but strong friendships are more precious than wide and weak ones. In other words, they do not value horizontal networks as much. However, we must not underestimate the strengths of wide and weak ties. So, what can we do to enhance our horizontal networks? Of course, joining more communities is one way to build new wide relationships. But as an easier step, let's talk to our acquaintances. We are surrounded by many people whose faces we know, yet we never talk to, such as neighbors or the staff in your favorite cafe. Why not talk with them? Just start by saying hello whenever you see them. Then next time, you can make a simple comment about the weather or something else. By doing this, you can gradually begin to develop more friendly connections with people. Everyone in this hall, please take a look around. We can see so many people we know or have never talked to before. Why don't we start a conversation with them? If we start to build more horizontal networks, it also gives places where people who are depressed can reveal their concerns. So people like us, leading happy lives, should take the initiative and reach out to others to share our happiness with them. A small greeting and a few kind words can be all it takes to make a difference. It's a two-way street. That person you're helping now might just be a person who can lend a hand when you need it to. Still, I can never imagine why a young businessman took his own life that day. But what I do know is that if he had just had someone to rely on, his life could have been saved. We never know when we will get into a desperate situation. So why don't we start building horizontal networks and find the places where we can really be ourselves? Weak ties like this are a thin thread, seemingly with no power. However, weak ties have an incalculable hidden strength. Even in the toughest of time, weak ties will keep you alive. Thank you.
Next is the question and answer period. Mr. Posca, please.
Thank you very much for your inspiring speech. First question would be, can you describe what would be a good horizontal network?
Okay, horizontal networks is the situation where we can reveal the reveal the concerns depending on the situation. For example, well, I can talk about the concern about the university life. I can talk about it with my family, but instead I cannot reveal the concern of like romantic relationships, but instead I can talk about it with my university students. So like this, we should change the contents of concerns depending on the person. Yes, we need multiple places. Like this is kind of the horizontal networks.
Okay, but if I'm not mistaken, what you were saying with the horizontal network is I should be able to share my problems with people who are acquaintances. So like, for example, I see the same convenience store clerk every morning on my way to work. I say hello to them. Should I tell them my problems at work?
I'm not saying that we should talk about the deep concerns to strangers. I'm talking about the people who know already. And Robert Putnam says that in horizontal networks there is a thin trust. So firstly, we can begin with the greeting, and you can start a small conversation. And then you can gradually begin to develop different new connections. And at the time, if you feel that you have built the thin trust, you can reveal the concerns. But I think it's dangerous to reveal concerns to the strangers.
Okay. What do you think about social networks? Because these are kind of a horizontal network.
Yes,
do you recommend them?
Yes, I think so. Especially like people who don't have courage to have horizontal networks, it's more beneficial for them because we can reveal the concerns anonymously, and it's not face-to-face communication. We don't have to care about how those people think about me, and through interaction on the SNS, we can realize that there are so many people who suffer from the similar problem. So I think that SNS is very good. Yes, very good system for those people.
Okay. My last question would be about your customer. The customer who felt like he couldn't share his feelings with his family. Is this a symptom of a greater problem in Japan?
Yes, well, I think that those kind of, there are so many such kind of people. For example, my father, I have never seen my father reveal the concern about me, a concern to me, because he thinks that he has to be the good father in front of me. So, so I think that, yes, and I think that because the people become much busier than the past, they don't have the place to reveal concerns. Yes, especially like business.
I'm very sorry, but time has expired.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Posca and Ms. Arima.